Jahvid Best. Before the concussions that would end his career, Best had built a resume that looked destined for stardom. The Detroit Lions drafted him in 2010's first round, hoping his agility could complement Matthew Stafford's arm and Calvin Johnson's gravity. By 2011, Best had suffered multiple concussions, including 2 in a span of 8 weeks. After the October 16th hit against San Francisco, his world tilted. Headaches wouldn't stop, light sensitivity intensified, and cognitive testing results showed lingering trauma. Every medical opinion said the same thing. One more concussion could do irreversible damage. By 2013, no doctor would clear him. The Lions kept him on injured reserve, hoping for a miracle, but he quietly retired at 24. The aftermath was hauntingly symbolic of the NFL's concussion crisis. Best sued the league and helmet manufacturer Riddell for negligence, joining the wave of lawsuits that later led to the NFL's billion-dollar concussion settlement. He became one of the league's earliest examples of a promising career snuffed out by brain injury, a cautionary tale before CTE became a household term. Today, Jahvid Best channels his energy into coaching and mentorship. He coached high school football in California, trained sprinters, and even competed in the 2016 Rio Olympics for St. Lucia in the 100-minute sprint. His track comeback was a defiant gesture, a man proving to himself that his body could still move, even if football had taken everything else. What's left is the story of a player who could have been one of the league's most electrifying backs, but instead became a symbol for why the game had to change. Ryan Shazier. Few moments in football history stopped the sport cold, like the night Ryan Shazier went down in Cincinnati. December 4th, 2017. Monday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers versus Cincinnati Bengals. 1 second he's sprinting across the field, the very definition of sideline to sideline speed. And the next, he's on the turf, unable to move his legs. The camera cut away. Teammates prayed. The stadium fell silent. By 2016, he was everything the Steelers wanted. A Pro Bowl linebacker with 117 tackles, 3 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles, anchoring the middle of the defense. But the signs of fragility were already there. Sprained ankles, knee tweaks, and a shoulder issue in his first 3 years suggested a body pushed to its limits by a violent game. Then came the hit. In the first quarter of that December 2017 game, Shazier went for a routine tackle. Head down, helmet first. His spinal cord compressed at the C4-C5 vertebrae. He instantly lost all movement below the waist. What began as a tackle ended as paralysis. The next days and weeks were filled with fear and prayer. Shazier underwent emergency spinal stabilization surgery. Doctors told him he might never walk again. He spent months in hospitals, relearning how to sit, then stand, then take a step. His career, of course, was over. The Steelers placed him on the reserve retired list in 2020, but they kept him on payroll, honoring his leadership and commitment. In return, Shazier gave them, and the football world, a lesson in perspective. The aftermath of his injury forced the NFL to confront its technique problems. Shazier's hit became a case study in why the league banned lowering the helmet on tackles. His story, coupled with his visible recovery, reshaped player safety conversations across all levels of football. By 2024, Shazier had found his new calling. He rejoined the Steelers as an assistant coach, mentoring young players, and founded the Ryan Shazier Fund for Spinal Rehabilitation, raising millions to help others walk again. He wrote a book, Life is a Journey, Not a Destination, chronicling the transformation from all-pro linebacker to motivational icon. He'll never play again, but Shazier's legacy is secured, not just as a defensive star, but as the man who turned paralysis into purpose. Andrew Luck. He was the rare quarterback who could make you believe in destiny. Yet in the end, it wasn't defeat on the field that took him down. It was exhaustion. That same trait, the warrior mentality, became the reason his career didn't last. The hits piled up fast. Luck was sacked 41 times in 2012, 100 times in his first 3 seasons, and played behind an offensive line that couldn't protect a Pop Warner quarterback. He suffered rib fractures, concussions, ankle injuries, and most devastatingly, a torn labrum in his throwing shoulder in 2015. The team mismanaged his recovery, and Luck kept playing through pain. That decision haunted him. The shoulder never fully healed. He tore it further in 2016 while snowboarding, a detail he later admitted with regret. He missed all of 2017 after surgery, watching from the sidelines as the Colts unraveled. When he returned in 2018, he delivered one of the greatest comebacks ever: 4,593 yards, 39 touchdowns, and a Comeback Player of the Year award, but the effort drained him. In 2019, Luck suffered calf and ankle issues during during preseason. The pain was constant, the rehab endless. On August 24, 2019, he stunned the football world by retiring at age 29, citing the cycle of injury, pain, and rehab that had taken the joy from me. Fans booed, teammates cried, the league froze. Since walking away, Luck has lived deliberately. He became Stanford's general manager for football operations in 2024, blending intellect with mentorship. He earned a master's degree, raised 2 daughters, and made peace with leaving $500 million in potential earnings behind. His departure redefined the conversation about athlete burnout. It wasn't weakness, it was awareness. Luck proved that mental health mattered more than a stat line. For a sport that glorifies sacrifice, his retirement became a cultural inflection point. He could have been a Hall of Famer. Instead, he became something rarer, a man who left before the game could destroy him. Robert Griffin III. Robert was the Offensive Rookie of the Year, the NFC East champion, and the face of a franchise reborn. But that December, he sprained his right LCL against Baltimore, and in the January 2013 playoff game against Seattle, his knee completely gave out. Torn ACL, torn LCL, patellar tendon damage, all in one collapse. Doctors fixed it, the team rushed him back, and in doing so, they broke him again. Griffin's 2013 season was a shell of his rookie brilliance. He struggled with brace limitations, lost his burst, and was benched late in the season. By 2014, he dislocated his ankle. By 2015, he'd suffered multiple concussions. By 2016, he fractured his shoulder. Every time he got up, another hit found him. The coaching carousel and front office dysfunction in Washington didn't help. He went from face of the franchise to inactive third stringer in 3 years. By 2020, RGICI was done as a player, but he wasn't done rewriting his story. He pivoted to broadcasting, rising through ESPN's NFL Live and Monday Night Countdown, then moved to Fox Sports in 2025 as their #2 college football analyst. His charisma, energy, and insight made him one of the most recognizable voices in football media. His career as a quarterback will forever be marked by the tragedy of potential unrealized. But his resilience, surviving injury, controversy, and even a serious car crash in 2025 showed that RGIC was never just about football. He was about perseverance. His story is a masterclass in how the NFL can chew through promise and how some men still find a way to keep their spark alive. Nick Chubb. Chubb's first brush with catastrophe came in college. October 10, 2015, Georgia versus Tennessee. One wrong tackle, one grotesque twist of the knee, torn MCL, PCL, LCL. The injury was so severe it was considered career-ending, but Chubb didn't accept that. He returned in 2016, rushing for 1,130 yards, and later became the second-round pick of the Cleveland Browns in 2018. In Cleveland, he blossomed. 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, 4 Pro Bowls, and a reputation for humility and dominance. But in 2023, it all came crashing down again. Week 2 against Pittsburgh, a low tackle from Minkah Fitzpatrick bent his leg inward, tearing multiple ligaments in that same left knee. The replay was so gruesome that television refused to show it again. Chubb underwent 2 surgeries and missed the entire 2023 season. When he finally returned in late 2024, fate struck once more, a broken foot in week 15. The repetition of trauma has changed Chubb's game. The explosion isn't the same, but the discipline remains. By 2025, he signed with the Houston Texans, producing modest numbers but proving something deeper, that he would not surrender to statistics or medical predictions. Chubb's career stands as a sobering reminder of football's brutality. He was built for the grind, respected for his silence, and admired for his consistency. Yet the human body has limits. His resilience keeps him going. His legacy reminds us that even giants can break. Clinton Portis. Under Joe Gibbs in Washington, Portis was asked to be more than a speedback. He became the bruiser, the workhorse, the bell cow who took 20-plus carries per game. That transition, though vital to the team, began his physical decline. Shoulder sprains, groin pulls, knee swelling, concussions, all began stacking up. By 2006, he had fractured his hand in preseason and torn a labrum in his shoulder. The next year brought multiple concussions, but Portis kept playing. He prided himself on being available. Between 2002 and 2009, he amassed 9,123 rushing yards and 75 touchdowns, ranking among the best of his era. But football doesn't reward endurance forever. By 2010, Portis's body gave out. He played only 5 games that season before suffering a groin tear that ended his career. Later reports revealed that he had sustained at least 10 concussions, and post-retirement medical issues followed. Depression, financial trouble, and chronic migraines haunted him. Off the field, his life spiraled. By 2019, Portis faced bankruptcy and federal charges for healthcare fraud, a reflection not of malice, but of a man unprepared for life after football. But like the runner he always was, Portis never stopped moving forward. In 2023, he began working with youth programs and coaching at Delaware State University, using his story to teach the next generation about financial literacy and health awareness. Clinton Portis' tale is more than a sports tragedy. It's a full-circle reflection of how the NFL's physical demands can strip a player of body, wealth, and peace, yet still leave room for redemption. Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis's career was like a meteor, brief, blinding, unforgettable. In less than 5 full seasons, he did what most players can't do in 10: win MVP, capture 2 Super Bowls, and redefine running back greatness. But just as he was reaching his prime, one injury erased it all. Then came 1998, arguably the greatest single rushing season of the modern era. Davis rushed for 2,008 yards, won the NFL MVP, and carried Denver to another Super Bowl title. But greatness invites risk. In Week 4 of the 1999 season, against Miami, Davis tried to make a tackle after an interception, a move completely outside his role, and tore both his ACL and MCL. The injury sidelined him for the rest of the year, and though he tried to return, the damage was permanent. Knee swelling, cartilage degeneration, and chronic pain defined his next 2 seasons. By 2002, at just 29 years old, Terrell Davis retired. Statistically, his career ended at 7,607 rushing yards and 60 touchdowns, numbers that might not scream longevity, but his impact couldn't be measured by totals. In 4 healthy years, he defined a generation of running backs and revolutionized Denver's offense. Off the field, Davis became one of the NFL's most respected ambassadors. He transitioned into broadcasting, founded a wellness company focused on CBD pain management, and became a Hall of Famer in 2017. Davis's short career forces the league to confront an uncomfortable truth, that the game often consumes its brightest stars too soon. His legend lies not in how long he played, but how fully he dominated when given the chance. Kuechly. As the accolades stacked up, so did the concussions. 2015, 2016, 2017, each one worse than the last. The 2016 concussion against New Orleans was the breaking point. As medical staff helped him off the field, cameras caught him crying uncontrollably. It wasn't pain, it was realization. He knew what was at stake. He'd already suffered memory loss and balance issues from earlier concussions. By 2020, at just 28 years old, Kuechly retired. His body could still play, but his brain couldn't afford another hit. The aftermath was bittersweet. Fans mourned the loss of an all-time great in his prime, but his decision sparked conversations about long-term brain health and responsibility. Like Andrew Luck, Kuechly's retirement was an act of self-preservation, choosing mental clarity over fame. Post-retirement, he joined the Panthers' scouting staff and later became a youth coach, channeling his passion into mentorship. In interviews, he's candid about his love for football and equally candid about why walking away was the right call. Kuechly's career is proof that intelligence can't outsmart biology. His story became a blueprint for how to leave the game before the game leaves you. Jermichael Finley. At his best, Jermichael Finley was the prototype for the modern tight end. Big, fast, physical, and capable of stretching defenses down the seam. But one collision ended that potential in an instant, turning a future Hall of Fame path into a lesson about fragility. October 20th, 2013, against the Cleveland Browns, everything changed. Finley caught a short pass across the middle and was hit squarely in the helmet by safety Tashawn Gibson. The impact left him motionless on the turf. Trainers rushed in as teammates knelt around him. Minutes later, he was carried off the field on a stretcher. The diagnosis, a spinal cord contusion. Doctors told him he could play again only at enormous risk. Another impact might paralyze him permanently. Finley spent months in recovery, regaining strength and movement. The Packers placed him on injured reserve, and though he tried to stage a comeback, no team was willing to clear him. By mid-2014, he officially retired. He had a $10 million insurance policy that paid out upon medical disqualification, but the money was little consolation. Football had been his identity, and suddenly it was gone. In retirement, Finley found a new role as a coach and mentor, training young athletes while advocating for safer tackling practices. He's candid about regret, that he ignored smaller warning signs, that he once played through stingers and neck pain. His story underscores how quickly a player's life can pivot from triumph to trauma. One hit, one angle, 1 second, and everything changes. Nick Collins. Like Jermichael Finley, his career ended on the same field that made him famous. In Week 2 of the 2011 season, against Carolina, disaster struck. Collins dove to tackle running back Jonathan Stewart, landed awkwardly, and immediately grabbed his neck. He couldn't move his arms properly. Trainers immobilized him and rushed him to the hospital. The diagnosis was grim: a herniated disc and a fractured vertebra at the C3-C4 level. Doctors performed spinal fusion surgery to stabilize the area. Though the procedure saved his mobility, it ended his playing career. For months, months, Collins rehabbed and pleaded for clearance, hoping to return. But the Packers, valuing his long-term health, refused. By 2012, they officially released him, and Collins retired. He left the game with 21 interceptions and countless near misses for more. But what defined him most was how gracefully he handled the ending. Instead of bitterness, he turned to coaching, mentoring high school players in Florida and helping them understand risk versus reward. Nick Collins's career was the epitome of the phrase, "gone too soon." He walked away able to walk, and for him, that was victory enough. Tony Boselli. From 1996 to 2000, he was practically untouchable. 5 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pro selections, and a streak of dominance that shut down every elite pass rusher he faced, from Bruce Smith to Derek Thomas. But around the turn of the millennium, the physical toll began to show. Boselli's left shoulder, his anchor in pass protection, became his downfall. What started as discomfort turned into chronic labrum tears. Between 2000 and 2001, he underwent multiple surgeries to repair rotator cuff and nerve damage. He missed 12 games in 2001, and by 2002, Jacksonville was forced to make an unthinkable decision: expose their franchise player in the expansion draft. The newly formed Houston Texans claimed Boselli, expecting him to be their first cornerstone lineman, but he never played a single down. His shoulder simply wouldn't recover. In 2003, after 7 seasons and 91 career starts, Tony Boselli retired at just 30 years old. His career might have been short, but it was impactful enough to influence an entire generation of linemen. The Jaguars honored him as their first inductee into the team's Pride of the Jaguars, and in 2022, the Hall of Fame finally came calling, a rare acknowledgement that greatness isn't measured in years, but in dominance. Boselli's story is a reminder that sometimes the greatest what-ifs aren't about talent, they're about the body refusing to cooperate. Bob Sanders. Bob Sanders was never the biggest man on the field, but for a few years, he hit harder than anyone alive. He embodied what defensive coordinators love and doctors fear. But for all his power, Sanders' body could not sustain the punishment. His compact frame and fearless play style made injuries inevitable. Shoulder dislocations, knee sprains, biceps tears, and ankle surgeries. Every season seemed to bring a new setback. Between 2004 and 2011, Sanders appeared in just 50 games. For perspective, that's an average of about 6 per season. He missed more games than he played, despite being one of the most talented defensive backs of his era. By 2011, after brief stints with the San Diego Chargers and a final injury to his triceps, Sanders retired quietly. The Colts' defense was never quite the same without him, and his absence proved just how much his energy had meant. Off the field, Sanders became a symbol of sacrifice, a man whose playing style defined the NFL's old-school toughness, but also exposed the consequences of it. His story is often cited in player safety discussions as an example of why the league needed to evolve. Bob Sanders might not have the longevity of a legend, but in his prime, there was no one more feared: Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson doesn't just belong in sports history, he belongs in mythology. And yet, even gods can fall. All it took was one play. In January 1991, during a playoff game between the Los Angeles Raiders and the Cincinnati Bengals, Bo broke free for a long run. At the end of the play, linebacker Kevin Walker brought him down from behind. It looked routine, but Bo didn't get up right away. He had dislocated his hip, an injury so severe that it cut off blood flow to the joint. The diagnosis, a vascular necrosis, the bone in his hip was literally dying. Before that moment, Jackson had been rewriting what was possible in professional sports. As an NFL player, he averaged 5.4 yards per carry, one of the highest in league history. In baseball, he was hitting 32 home runs a season and throwing runners out from the warning track. Doctors replaced the hip with a prosthetic, ending his NFL career instantly. Jackson tried to continue in baseball, and incredibly he did, returning to hit a home run in his first at-bat after surgery with the Chicago White Sox. But football was gone. His career totals: 2,682 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns in just 38 games, barely scratched the surface of what he could have achieved. Had he played 10 seasons, he might have challenged Emmitt Smith's rushing record, while still moonlighting as an MLB slugger. Instead, Bo became a cultural icon. His Bo Knows Nike campaign lives on as one of the most influential in sports marketing. His legend didn't die with the injury, it became bigger, because sometimes myth grows stronger when it ends too soon. Bo Jackson remains the greatest what-if in sports history, the athlete so powerful that his body couldn't even sustain itself. Cadillac Williams. His nickname, Cadillac, wasn't just about flash. It represented smooth power, an engine that never stopped. But behind that brilliance lurked a fragility no one could have predicted. In 2007, during a Week 4 game against Carolina, Williams suffered a devastating patellar tendon tear in his right knee. The injury required months of rehabilitation, but somehow he returned in 2008, only for the same injury to strike again, this time in his left knee. The odds of recovering from one patellar tendon rupture are slim, from two, almost impossible, yet Williams defied them. By 2009, he was back in the starting lineup, putting up 823 rushing yards and earning the league's Comeback Player of the Year admiration from fans and analysts alike. Still, the damage was permanent. His speed was gone, his burst diminished. He lasted through 2011, finishing with 4,038 rushing yards and 21 total touchdowns before quietly exiting the league. But that's not where his story ends. Williams returned to Auburn University, his alma mater, where he became a beloved coach, eventually serving as interim head coach in 2022, leading the Tigers with passion and humility. Cadillac Williams' career may not have fulfilled its early promise, but his perseverance redefined success. His body failed him, but his character never did. Johnny Knox. Johnny Knox's name is one many fans remember for a single horrific moment, a play so gruesome that broadcasters refused to replay it. It was December 18, 2011, Chicago Bears versus Seattle Seahawks. Knox went to recover a fumble and was hit at full speed, bending backward in half. The image still haunts those who saw it live. Knox was immediately immobilized and taken off the field. The diagnosis: fractured vertebra and spinal cord damage. His surgery stabilized his spine, but he was left with permanent nerve damage, losing sensation and control in parts of his lower body. His football career was over at just 25. Before the injury, Knox was one of Chicago's most promising receivers. Drafted in the 5th round of the 2009 draft, he quickly became a fan favorite. In his rookie year, he posted 527 yards and 5 touchdowns, earning a Pro Bowl nod as a kick returner. His speed, route running, and chemistry with Jay Cutler made him a rising star, but all of that vanished in seconds. Knox tried to return to football, but after multiple spinal surgeries and relentless pain, doctors told him it was impossible. By 2013, he officially retired. The Bears honored him with a ceremonial retirement, and teammates like Matt Fort and Lance Briggs called him one of the toughest competitors they'd ever played with. In the years since, Knox has become an advocate for spinal injury awareness and a physical therapy assistant, helping others find strength after trauma. His injury was one of the most shocking in modern NFL history, a reminder of the razor-thin line between glory and tragedy in the sport. Byrd. On November 29, 1992, the New York Jets faced the Kansas City Chiefs. Byrd, a talented defensive end, went for a routine sack on quarterback Dave Krieg. His teammate Scott Merzereau reached the quarterback first, and Byrd collided with him head-on. The impact shattered his C5 vertebra, leaving him paralyzed from the neck down. Doctors told him he would never walk again. The injury sent shockwaves across the league, but Byrd refused to accept the prognosis. Through months of excruciating rehabilitation, he slowly regained movement in his arms, then legs. A year later, in one of the most emotional moments in NFL history, Byrd walked onto the Meadowlands field using a cane, greeted by roaring applause. He became a living symbol of courage. Before the accident, Byrd had been one of the Jets' best defenders, 27 sacks in 4 seasons, a cornerstone of their pass rush. Afterward, he became something far greater. He co-wrote the autobiography Rise and Walk, became a motivational speaker, and dedicated his life to helping others facing paralysis. Tragically, Byrd's life was cut short in 2016 when he was killed in a car accident in Oklahoma. But his story endures as one of the most powerful in sports, a reminder that even when the body breaks, the spirit doesn't have to. Byrd may have been taken down on the field, but he rose again and walked so others could believe in miracles. That's all for now, folks, and thank you for staying locked in. If you enjoyed this video and wouldn't mind more of such content, click on the card showing on the screen.